Glasses have existed for 700 years. That is 7 centuries to perfect the design. So why do these keep sliding down my nose? Let me explain. In this video, I explore old medical journals, collector's guides, and patents to figure out where glasses went wrong and design a better pair to make it right. Thank you to Planta for sponsoring this video. I have been wearing glasses for 15 years, and in that time, I have never owned a perfect pair. They slid down my nose, they were ugly, or they were just plain uncomfortable. The specific problem has varied over the years, from pair to pair, but there has always been a problem. I think I've gotten better at selecting glasses over time. Like these ones I think are kind of fashionable, but the most annoying pair I've ever owned are these ones. They're prescription sunglasses. Unfortunately, when I put them on, they touch my eyelids. I don't know if you could see the oil stains. Now I know that none of these are terrible problems, right? But they are just inconvenient enough that I want to know why they exist. Why glasses, which I assume have been around for a pretty long time, aren't perfect. And I am willing to spend an inappropriate amount of time trying to find the answer. So today in this video, you and I are going to figure out why we got stuck with bad glasses. Are glasses racist?
Let me put my glasses on.
Yes, let me think.
It's a joke. Or is it? I wanted to start this one off a little differently by talking to my fellow glasses wearers, Taha and Melissa, to know if they've experienced this problem or if this is just a me thing. You guys wear glasses, right? Taha, you're currently wearing glasses. Melissa?
I have glasses. I just wear contacts most of the time.
Why?
Maybe because I broke one of the nose pieces and haven't gotten it fixed yet.
You have different problems. My glasses always are wrong. And I've established that it's because my genetics. I have like no real estate here.
So like, I want them to be like closer to my face, but there's a bone right here, so I can't push them closer towards my face.
There's a nose in the way.
That's why this broke, because I was trying to adjust the nose pad to like push them.
I have the opposite problem. I do have these, whatever these are called, but they aren't actually doing anything.
What?
Like, it's the circular part of this that's resting against my nose.
What I'm realizing is, people's heads are so many different shapes. If we think like, when I go to a glasses store, there's only one size of this style of glasses. But if I were to go jean shopping, there are so many sizes of this one pair and so many different like fits. My theory is something went wrong in history or in design or somewhere. And now we got glasses that don't fit people. Why don't we have custom glasses that fit everybody?
Yeah. My theory, the thing that I think will actually come up is you will be like, long ago, everyone had different types of glasses for their different types of faces. Then the Fire Nation attacked. Colonialism, everyone had to, exports, globalization happened and everyone decided to take the same glasses.
One thing I read was just my face might be too oily.
Oh my god.
Where's your blotting sheets?
Why am I getting attacked?
You got diced up by your own research.
One of the solutions is to like put this waxy substance on your iPads and then they'll just stick to the correct space for longer. But I'm lubricating my iPads at the moment and that's what's making it easier for them to slide down.
I wonder if we are uninformed consumers and don't know what we're looking for in glasses. And it's nothing to do with globalization or colonialism. And it is the fact that we don't know the names of any of the parts of the glasses or what we're looking for. Or anything about what any of the pieces do. So
our ideas ranged from oily nose to not enough options to uninformed buying to colonialism enforcing exclusionary designs. Big range! Now these are effectively hypotheses and the goal for research is to do my best to try to disprove them. And in order to do that, I think I need to figure out why glasses look like this. I started my research by realizing I didn't know what to research. History? Anthropology? Ophthalmology? After getting through a bunch of articles that didn't cover what I needed and blog posts that looked kinda sketchy, I found spectacles and other vision aids. There was just 2 problems. It cost $600 on the resale market, and the publisher hasn't updated their website since 2015. That's so long ago. So I just scraped the Google Book Preview and used the citations to find other things to read.
I'm still getting through this paper, and I was getting so confused because it kept saying like eyeglasses, but kept only emphasizing like this guard bridge area. But it kept saying eyeglasses, and to my knowledge up until this point, eyeglasses and spectacles, same thing basically. apparently. But no, up until some point in history, eyeglasses were just referencing pince-nez. Pince-nez. You know, the nose pinching things? So they didn't have arms. So everything was about mounting it here. That's it. I'm gonna go feral. If you Google, like, oh, what is the difference between spectacles and glasses, or spectacles and eyeglasses? All of the answers are just very confident. There is no difference. There is. There was. There was.
Okay, so it has been 3 weeks since I started learning about glasses and their history and their science and the fact that eyeglasses and spectacles aren't historically synonyms. But anyway, I need to put it all together into something coherent. So, let's do this. I think this is a really common challenge with history questions because you need to balance so many perspectives over so much time. I read stuff from fashion historians, science historians, glasses collectors, ophthalmologists, who all focused on different details and omitted others. They all kind of formed these puzzle pieces that I needed to smush together. Welcome to my den of madness. I think I have a story to tell you, and like all the good ones, it comes in 3 parts. Starting with part 1, function. Our story starts here in the 9th century when Abbas ibn Fernandes invented reading stones. These were crystals or glass shaped to magnify the text directly beneath it. 2 centuries later, Al-Hasan, in his book of optics, was credited as the first to explain how that magnification actually worked. However, the shape of the lenses used at the time meant that they needed to be held close to the page to be useful. It was only 2.5 centuries later when records emerged of people devising ways to shape and hold the lenses closer to the eyes than the page. But there's a catch. These glasses, and these glasses, and these glasses were for reading and were most useful to the aged and to those with weak eyes. In other words, glasses implied weakness, or worse, a rejection of God's plan. These perceptions lingered, even when the invention of the printing press triggered the start of widespread literacy, even when lenses for nearsightedness were invented, and even when the tool became more affordable to the masses, people still made an effort to hide that weakness away. Although sometimes scholars, saints, political figures, artists, they were depicted with glasses. But this was mainly to reflect their social class or their wisdom. But for the average person in much of the West, it was either too expensive or weirdly intimate to be seen wearing your glasses in public. But that wasn't really the case in China, probably because aging is generally more celebrated in Eastern cultures. If anything, you take your glasses off as a sign of respect for the people around you, not shame for your own disability. And this contrast seems to have caused some pretty stark differences in design between the East and the West, which brings me to part 2, fit. By the 1800s, Eastern glasses had a long history of large circular lenses, connected by high ornate bridges and held in place using arms, loops, or weighted cords. They were also worn at an angle to rest against the cheeks instead of the nose. In comparison, a divergence had formed in Western designs. On one hand, there were utilitarian designs that experimented with different ways of keeping the lenses in the right place, often at the cost of any sense of style. On the other hand, there were avoidant designs that put fashion first, making vision aids easy to hide, but also less functional. So, even though by 1730 temple spectacles with rigid side pieces similar to our modern glasses were already invented, they were consistently overlooked. So, even 200 years later, the predominant design were nose glasses, praised for how easy they were to remove. Because they barely stayed on in the first place. Nose glasses, or pince-nez, work by using various mechanisms to just hook the glasses onto your nose. Now, I used to think that they were the epitome of exclusionary design because there's no way they work for people with low or flat nose bridges. Ophthalmologists of the time recognized that they wouldn't work for the average East Asian. But here's the trick. It wasn't just Asians. It was everyone! In 1898, a reader wrote to the English magazine called Answers on some advantages of wearing eyeglasses, meaning pince-nez. I find them most of use during discussions. While I am fumbling with them, I gain several valuable seconds to collect my thoughts. If I need longer grace, I dexterously allow the obstinate things to fall from my nose. So a perk of the pince-nez is that it doesn't pince your nez. Early pince-nez designs required that you bent the wire connecting your lenses so that it would pinch onto your nose. Now, this would be really inconsistent and it would mess up the alignment every time you did it. It was so bad that doctors would avoid prescribing eyeglasses because they knew it would get messed up. But then fingerpiece glasses came into play. They use these little guards and stuff to pinch onto your nose without affecting the lenses. Perfect, right? What do you think? No! They fell off so often that ribbons, chains, cords, they were common things to attach to your pince-nez because they wouldn't stay in place. And all of this was because wearing glasses was cringe, especially ones with arms on the side. In fact, at the turn of the 20th century, Dr. Noburn B. Jenkins wrote in the Optical Journal, "Wearing spectacles or eyeglasses out of doors is always a disfigurement." Bro, I just wanna see. So what changed between then and now? Why is the idea of making fun of someone for wearing glasses just kind of weird? Well, basically, around the 1920s, somebody had the bright idea to make glasses look nice. First time somebody had that thought in the West. It basically was that simple, but it was novel. Which brings me to our last part, fashion. Over the next 100 years, glasses were made in new materials and shapes that worked to complement the details of its wearer's face. This new mix of fashion and function led to the once predominant nose glasses falling out of style. Soon, glasses became this functional accessory that could let people know you were bookish, or bold, or preppy, or Potter. For 700 years, glasses did help people see. But for the first time, they were finally ready to be seen. So most of the history of glasses is about people elaborately avoiding glasses. Neat. What does that have to do with our main question? How did we get stuck with bad glasses? Well, let's go back to our hypotheses. It wasn't the Fire Nation of colonialism enforcing exclusionary designs because that didn't happen. It also isn't really a lack of options or globalization narrowing down designs. Because in the process of making this video, I have accidentally stumbled onto many glasses stores online, and there's a lot of stuff out there. So the last actual hypothesis we have is that we are just uninformed or willingly ignorant buyers. And I can't really disprove that because it's probably true. Hold on. Where is it? Around the mid-20th century, when fashion started to make glasses socially acceptable, if not celebrated, it did so by shifting the focus of the masses. Glasses were not only expected to perfect your vision, they were also made to complement the shape of your face and fit modern fashion. The design industry began branding glasses like they did with other fashion items. We began referring to glasses by the entirety of their frame rather than their parts. And as a byproduct, I don't think that we know what parts are called anymore, and we don't know what alternatives exist. I called these things iPads. What? So nowadays, while we are asking for more from our glasses, we no longer know how to ask. Until now. That's right, since these sunglasses touch my eyelids and are so far out of fashion, I'm just gonna... This is so much harder than I expected it to be. Oh, I'm gonna make new frames and share some functional design options in the process. I've got wire, I've got jewelry pliers, and a whole lot of unearned confidence. Like, all I gotta do, right, is... Well, that's sharp. This is gonna be real close to my eye. To protect my eyes from my own incompetence, I decided to make a face cast. That's gonna be me, hopefully. I found a place that sold materials online and then struggled for an hour trying to find it offline because I couldn't figure out how to leave the train station. I'm lost. Whenever I walk to new places, I'm so confused. Isn't that where Gwen Stacy died? I'm in an elevator now. I don't know where I'm going. That does not look like a sculpture supply store. Oh, where the f*** am I? Oh my god, I found it. I swear it took me longer to figure out how to leave the subway station than it did to get here and to pick up my stuff. Ugh. Oh my god, I'm so sweaty. I feel like I just went on a side quest for this video. Like, this wasn't necessary. But is it good content? That's what matters. Is this what giving birth is like? It is born. Okay, so from the looks of it, we've got the alginate, we've got some cement, plaster bandages, a trash bag poncho. I think I'm gonna need help. I need your help.
How'd you get in my garage?
You're so good at acting, wow!
I've never cast anyone's face before.
I thought we did it together in art class.
Wrong art class, that wasn't me. There's so much stuff. Oh my gosh, it's like a little baking box. Okay, let's move this, let's unbox everything.
Right, we should probably account for the fact that this might be messy. Okay, I'll let you read through that.
Okay.
While I tell our viewers about today's sponsor, Planta. I have this thing called a nerve plant, and it does this thing that when it needs water, it'll faint, and it looks just straight up dead. That's when I know that I have to water my plants. Isn't that great? Well, that's how I used to take care of my plants, until I got Planta, which is informing me that I was supposed to have watered my plant today. Planta is a plant care app that wants to help you keep your plants alive. Their main feature is this personal care schedule. It uses information like location, humidity, and sunlight to tell you when to do stuff, like when to water, mist, clean, repot, and prune your plants.
It's crafting time.
It's crafting time. Oh god! My favorite part about Planta is that it adapts to my needs and knowledge. I like my plants, but I also want to do the bare minimum to keep them alive, and Planta helps me do that. Planta will tell me what to do and when to do it, and it can customize those instructions for each plant.
But what if you don't know what your plant is?
Well, the cool thing is that Planta has this feature that identifies plants by picture, which means that hypothetically, if my whole face was covered in plaster and alginate, I would still be able to identify plants. If only there was a way to test that.
This is my snake plant. Yep, mother-in-law's tongue snake plant. Toxic. Water every 15th day. You want to water the plant? Okay, forward. Not that way! I think it's time to take off Sabrina's casting because she's scaring me.
Click the first link in the description to get planted today and start saving your plants. Do we look alike? Well, I'll take this home now. Thank you.
Okay. Do you want to clean off your face? I guess I'll clean up this mess.
Hello. So I've just finished making the positive. I don't feel like it's gonna turn out well. Did it look like me inverted? Probably not gonna look like me not inverted. You could see that I've lost a significant amount of forehead. Why did I do this? This is a video about glasses. All right, so it's been a few hours and I am now holding what might be the biggest waste of time and money I've ever put into a video. Well, this is a horrifying start. Actually? Hold on. Oh, this is so weird. This is so... I hate this. It's so weird. This is so weird. That's me. The bottom of the nose is a little janky because Melissa was playing it safe and trying not to murder me. I appreciate that. But the rest of that, look, that's crazy. Don't get me wrong, it isn't perfect, but the important bits, like this nose bridge here and the location of my eyes, that's all I need. And then we kiss.
All right, so now that I have a face that I'm not scared to stab, let's talk about glasses. I'm going to talk about some of the things that I wish I had considered earlier when getting glasses, specifically concerning fit. Not face shape, not fashion, not eye health. I'm not an expert, I am just somebody who wants my glasses to stay still. If you want expert advice, be sure to talk to an ophthalmologist, optometrist, or optician. They are different things. Disclaimer aside, let's talk about lenses. So generally you want your eyes to be just above center of the lens. If, in order to do that, the lenses end up covering or bumping into parts of your face, you should probably consider a different size or shape. Now these bad boys are fine, they just got a bunch of fingerprints, so I'm just gonna use my wire and trace their shape. Yes, this glasses design is going to be all vibes. With the amount that I'm struggling, I worry that I had a little too much confidence in this. I'm gonna put that aside, and let's talk about bridges. Plastic glasses usually come with saddle or keyhole bridges that hug the nose. Depending on the design, bridges like this actually keep the lenses pretty close to where the frame rests on the face. Now, this might be great for people with more significant snoots. However, that is not my situation. This part of my nose is pretty small, so when I wear these glasses, the lenses just touch my eyelids, which is why for my new frame, I'm gonna make a bridge with nose pads. They allow for more independence between where the frames rest on your face and the lenses are in front of your eyes. Now, there are plastic frames designed for people with low nose bridges, but I prefer wire ones. So I'm gonna make a rigid bridge, and then I'm gonna use thinner wire to mold it more to the shape of my nose. Like I said, this design, all vibes. Bad vibes? Maybe. Okay, this is all looking a little bit sharp and uncomfortable though. So this brings me to nose pads. A lot of glasses slipping is caused by oily noses. Now, silicone pads are pretty good. They're kind of sticky, but they do absorb a lot of grime, so they need to be switched out every so often. A fact that I did not know. I don't even want to show you the ones on my actual glasses because it's kind of gnarly. Anyway, I got a glasses repair kit that had some nose pads in it, so I'm gonna use these in my new frame. Gonna pop those in there. Oh, another thing. If you don't have nose pads and you just have a plastic frame, you could buy these things as well. They're little adhesive nose pads. They just stick onto the glasses and make it a little grippier. So now let's move on to the thing that people have tried to avoid for centuries. Temples. They're named that because original designs actually pinched onto the temples, but most temples nowadays are skull temples, so they go mostly straight out before hooking down behind your ear. You can actually go to an optician's and get this bend altered alongside a bunch of other adjustments to help your glasses fit, which I wish I knew about before I got this deep into the video. But you know what? Woman gets glasses altered for reasonable cost by professionals probably won't get me the views I crave. Like, comment, subscribe. Anyway, there are temples besides this. There are half riding bows that hook a little bit more around the ear. There are full riding bows that fully hook behind the ear. And there are cable temples, which are basically the same shape as full riding bows. However, they're made out of braided wire, which makes them a little bit more flexible, so you can mold them more to your ear. And because I want to make an immovable pair of glasses, I'm making cable temples. I'm braiding. Is this the content you want? Some of y'all subscribed because you thought I knew how to code. Now look at me. Oh, back to small adjustments. If you don't have cable temples, which I assume a lot of you don't, you can get these little wings to attach at the back of your glasses, and it kind of simulates a bit more of a hook. I don't know why I did it on this instead of my actual glasses. Anyway, cool thing. It's sharp, it's sharp, it's sharp. And that brings me to temple tips. These add extra comfort and grip to temple arms. From what I've seen, they're usually made out of plastic, which isn't super grippy, but you could buy silicone or rubber tubing that helps increase the grip. I didn't want to do that though, because it's not cute, so I'm going to be using embroidery thread. Hopefully this thread will have a bunch of contact points and really set itself in. So we've got the front of the glasses and the temples. The last thing is to put it together with hinges. Regular hinges stop at 90 degrees and can sometimes feel like they're pinching your head. There are also spring hinges, which are a little bit more flexible and can bend beyond 90 degrees. I think spring hinges are neat. I don't know how to make them though, so we're going with a normal hinge. I don't even know if what I'm about to make is technically a hinge. Like I said, this design is all vibes. This seems fine. Yeah, I coiled up one piece of wire, and I have another wire going through, and it's better than a spring hinge. It's a 360-degree hinge, which does not sound like a hinge. I might need to do a little bit more than just vibe to make these glasses. So I realized that I needed to solder the frame together. That should work. So I headed over to the park for that good ventilation.
Think about making like this wavy design on the temple, because I think it'll look cool.
It took all day.
I think it's too short.
And it didn't go very well.
I can't get over how stupid this looks. I genuinely thought that this was gonna look good. Humiliating. I will note that I think they work. The lesson of the video has been like, oh, it's not all about fashion, it should still be about function.
And these are definitely not about fashion.
Let's test it out. I guess the only way I could do that is just shaking my head for as long as I can, so I'm gonna set a timer.
Okay, 3, 2, 1.
Okay, so before we test out the new glasses, I figured that we need a control. So I've got my normal glasses, and I'm just gonna shake my head really hard. Where'd they go? 3, 2, 1. As I shook my head so hard that it genuinely started to hurt, I realized that the main thing holding it in place was the cable temples. Everything else I made was uglier, more uncomfortable, and less functional than normal glasses except for the hooked ear ends. If only there was some easy attachment that I literally showed in this video that could imitate that. I'm very dizzy. So I've been thinking, I'm in my washroom, which is where my best thinking happens. And I might have galaxy brained this. Instead of making a new pair of glasses, I simply made the small modifications that the internet recommended to me. That is, I switched out the silicone pads on my glasses, and I've added these little wing tips. So the time to beat is about 16 seconds. So 3, 2, 1, stop. Oh my god, there's only 10 seconds. I need to keep going. I think it worked. So that was how we got stuck with bad glasses and how to fix it. The easy way and the hard way. So stupid and ugly. Hope you enjoyed, but either way, have a lovely day. Oh, my head hurts.